greatest show on earth.
Welcome back to Star Wars Talk. I'm your host. That's right. Culture Convo's doing Star Wars again. We got a lot of heat the last time we did a Star Wars episode. So we figured, let's do it again. What could go wrong? You know. So yeah, we're going to talk about Andor, bro. Andor. I won't say what I think about it yet. But we could cover season 1 too. I mean, the truth is, Tony Gilroy wrote this as one story.
Okay.
It was 2 seasons, but it was a single story about the birth of the rebellion and the Empire. If you're unfamiliar,
yes.
And it started in 2022. It just wrapped up in 2025. 2 seasons, 3 years apart. Not great, but we waited for it, and
I'm like, what were y'all doing in between?
I know, man. I get it, man. I mean, you're talking about a lot of effects. I guess I get it. I mean, it seems like filming on the volume stage is supposed to make a lot of that faster. So I don't totally get it, but what do I know? Nothing. Yes. So we're gonna talk Andor. So I assume you are watched or caught up? Or are you going to be in this as a virgin?
Fully caught up.
Nice.
Yes.
Excellente.
Yes.
Well, as you guys know, Tony Gilroy, the writer-director, he directed Rogue One, which out of the last... Masterpiece. I would say it's my favorite Star Wars movie out of the Disney Star Wars movies. I did love Force Awakens, but Rogue One was just on another level. I think they were trying to shoot for that level with the Han Solo movie, and it didn't quite make it. That movie had a lot of problems, but I would say Rogue One nailed it to the point where it just felt like one of the best Star Wars movies I had ever seen. So they, of course, greenlit Andor.
Yep.
And
which, if you just don't know, if you haven't watched it yet, the spoiler alert, turn this off.
Very true.
Wait to watch it all, then come back. But I will give you a little tease. It leads up perfectly, and I mean, literally, like almost to the minutes of leading into.
Well, Rogue One does.
Rogue One,
but Andor leads up perfectly to the beginning of Rogue One. So
that's what I'm saying.
Yes, so it's like a continuous story, 4 years out from A New Hope. Which is incredible. In my opinion, I just think it's what a brilliant thing to do. I was watching an interview with Tony Gilroy, and he was saying that he's actually not a Star Wars fan, but he liked the idea of using that universe to tell a political thriller. And I was like, that's a great way to look at it. And it gets you out of any, like, there's fan service in it with the production design and stuff like that, but he doesn't have to do fan service when he's doing that. Like, it just kind of is. And I'll make this bold statement. It's the dialogue wise, it's the best written anything Star Wars out there. That includes Lucas, that includes Filoni, that includes anybody that's written.
I'm gonna pass on that one.
No way, bro. That could be controversial all you want, but it is brilliant writing.
I will tell you this: it does not even step foot to the better writing in the Clone Wars. Star Wars: The Clone Wars is so much fucking better.
No, and I'll tell you why.
The end of the Clone Wars, the last 2 seasons, was the best Star Wars out there, period, end of story.
It is not the best because Andor and Rogue One exist. However, it is very good, but it's a animated series, so the payoff for each thing had to be in that episode. In Andor, the writing's so good, you get payoffs.
No, it's not. You haven't even watched them all. Get out of here. You're an anti-animator.
I've watched a lot of Clone Wars.
A lot. I mean, not every
4 or 5 episodes. But it doesn't matter. I do know that
does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Dude,
literally,
Andor's writing is for adults, and that's the way it should be.
Oh my God. So is the Clone Wars.
No. Clone Wars has to also appeal to the younger audience.
It doesn't towards the end, though. That's what I'm telling you. You didn't watch it.
The ones I watched.
No.
The ones toward the end, the ones I watched.
No, you missed out. All the stuff they did, the political stuff that they did was better about the clones than it was in Andor.
Well, we will agree to disagree. Tim's wrong. But Andor obviously follows the lead character Andor from Rogue One. Cassian Andor, to get his full name correctly. What is the actor's name? It's like Diego something.
Diego Luna.
Yes. Has he been in
Phenomenal
anything
actor.
else?
It doesn't matter, bro. He can guy in history. He's going to go down as a Star Wars legend. So, I mean,
I agree, man. Like,
dude, why hasn't he appeared at cons?
Yeah. Is he? I'm assuming he must live in Europe or something. Maybe they've had it hard. I know.
So is every other one. They all live in London. So
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he must be working on. He has to have a good career going now. I mean, he's got that much
what
out
else
there
has he
Star
been
Wars
in?
wise. I don't know. I'd have to look. I'm gonna look him up. Just see what else he's done.
Because when he was dressed up as like the fancy was like an architect, I guess, the designer guy, when he go to the hotel, dude, he looked handsome as fuck, bro. I was like, yo, this dude is like that style and everything. I'm like, he could pull off that like Pedro Pascal over the top outfit.
He was
if
just
he
like Pedro.
To.
Speaking of Pedro, he was also in Narcos, which was an early Netflix show that Pedro. It really made Pedro's career. A lot of stuff I've never heard of, though.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I mean, he might be a European actor,
huh?
Where does he
very
live?
likely. I don't know.
I'm genuinely curious because
it doesn't look like it's on IMDb. But
I mean, I feel like he's Spanish, but
yeah, he does
like
seem
not
Spanish.
Latin, but like Spanish.
Mexico City.
Okay, so
I guess he's Mexican.
Yeah,
so he was born in Mexico City.
He is.
I don't know if he still lives
Spanish.
there.
He is Mexican Spanish.
He is Mexican. Yeah, really great actor. Perfectly cast for this. I love Skarsgård as Luthen. Such a great character that we never knew about. You know what I mean? Like this guy basically facilitated how the rebellion was started and funded. They do such a great job at taking their time to tell this story, so that as a viewer, as you're watching and things happen, like certain like uprisings happen, you feel angry with them. Like you're like, yes, fight back. Like you're invested in it because of just the way they slow burn this entire plot.
See, are you ready for my hot take?
Yeah.
I think the slow burn was, oh my god, the first 5 episodes was some of the worst Star Wars I've ever seen.
That is
shoot
bizarre,
me right now, dude. Like if people want to talk shit on Acolyte starting off slow. Holy shit, Andor season 2, fucking shoot me. Oh my god,
I agree. It's slower than Acolyte, 100%. But I love that about it. I really do.
Because there was nothing. Okay, the only thing, the first
you're talking about season 2, right?
Yes, correct. Season 1 had a little bit more to it, but season 2, the beginning, the first four episodes, I don't think I even got excited about the show until like the 5th episode when they came in and killed the guy and blew up the thing. That was badass when Cassian and then came in and with
his whole stealing the TIE fighter at the concept TIE fighter at the beginning, and then those whatever they were, gorillas or whatever they were on that planet. I thought that whole sequence is exciting. I had no problems with the first.
I thought that was so boring.
Any episodes of it.
Oh my god!
No kidding. No, you're not alone. Obviously, there's been much of the same type of uproar online about it being slow. But I think that's one of the best things about this show is how slow they get you into it. I just think it's brilliant. I think the writing's excellent and the dialogue.
Okay, then what writing wise and dialogue was so fantastic about like the first 3 episodes? Because like the main thing that happened was Homegirl getting too drunk at and dancing around. Like that was like. I feel like I was watching Ted Lasso, that one episode where Coach fucking gets all wasted and has that whole night trip.
I just think it's character development. I really think they did a great job at developing each of these characters that's in Cassian's orbit, and just getting. And again, I don't know. I took that as Mon Mothma is like that was a brief moment of her. She's having to be this poised and important senator. And for a second, she got to feel freedom, which is the entire point of the Rebel Alliance. I think that's what that scene was about. and I just think it was an interesting way to do it. She finally had a moment where she could do it, and she took full advantage.
Yeah.
No matter how it made her look to others. I don't know. I think there's so much character development in this. Everybody's got an arc. Like, there's very few characters that don't have an arc.
I mean, there is a lot of people that died.
Yeah,
in that season,
which is the whole point.
I think they killed off at least half the main characters in that.
And, yeah, because we already know we were going to pay. You were getting the Cassian was obviously not going to die in the first two seasons because he dies at the end of Rogue One. Spoiler alert! Yeah. If you haven't seen Rogue One yet, come on, what are you even doing with your life,
dude? Do you know that movie came out almost 10 years ago?
Well, speaking of which, on the 10-year anniversary next year, in theaters, they're going to release both seasons of Andor, and Rogue One's going to be at the end. It'll be like a full 2-day event or whatever at theaters, which I know we probably won't be able to go, but I want to go to that.
I fall asleep for the Andor part.
Well, you can go to sleep and still wake up and still be immersed in the universe. But yeah, they're doing that for the 10th anniversary next year. I can't believe it has been 10 years since that movie came out. It's crazy.
I feel like, didn't you and I go see it together?
We probably did. It would have come out in 2016. So yeah,
was that one of the ones we watched in DC? Because I feel like every time we went to AwesomeCon, we went to a movie.
Tons of movies. I mean, that was at the heart of the Marvel, lead up to Endgame, and so yeah, we saw all kinds of movies.
Those are good old days,
Those are the good old days. The very good old days. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really have any knocks for Andor. I can't think of any that I didn't like.
Let me ask you a question.
So much of it.
Without looking it up.
Yeah.
Just quickly reply.
Yeah.
The whole season, all 12 episodes.
Sure.
How long of a year period did it take place?
16 episode, right?
No, it's 12. It's 12.
Well, you're talking about this season.
Yeah.
And then last season was also 10 or 12 episodes. Well, we're talking about the whole story. You got to talk about the whole story. But no, it takes place over 4 years. Am I correct on that?
This past season?
Yes.
Yeah. So every 3 episode was an arc.
That sounds right.
That took 1 year.
Which it takes you up to that.
3 episodes for 1 year is like cramming dialogue and bullshit just to kind of fill things a little bit. I feel like it could have been slowed down a little bit as far as like not so much talking. No, I'm talking about like less talking, but doing more things inside of that time frame. Right. Because they built up all this thing, and it's like they built up the whole setup. With all the, in my opinion, what I think was the Les Miserables freedom fighters in France, basically happening where they all kill them at the end. Right. I mean, that was so French Revolution, Les Miserables vibes. Well, I also think
they were showing that it took over a decade to build the Death Star. And Andor's basically the entire time the Death Star's being built is the rise of the rebellion.
Like, did nobody just randomly look out into space and be like, hey, what's that thing? Like, nobody. They have this huge monster thing as big as a planet.
They could do it. Well, yeah, space is huge, though. They could do that on the edge of space and no one would know. And clearly that's what they had done.
With all the smugglers and all the people running around and going stuff, no one saw anything.
I'll bet you all the outskirt centuries that the Empire had, you probably couldn't get anywhere close to that planet the whole time they were building.
That's true.
Yeah, so I don't think that
then how did that get to like the planets that they're killing though?
Well, it travels to it.
But it comes out of hyperspace in this There's no way that big ass thing went into fucking hyperspeed.
It comes out of hyperspace in this. Yes, it did.
What are you talking about?
The Death Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can travel through it. They do it in the first movie, dude. Remember they have
I know
it's traveling to Yavin, and it goes 30 minutes to get around the planet Yavin before it hits the 4th moon. Yeah, it travels.
But then it takes that long to go into there, but then it can go across the fucking galaxy in 2 seconds?
Well, they didn't have that technology for New Hope. So, but we're not talking about New Hope.
Jesus Christ. So I'm saying there's a couple of holes in this plot here.
I don't think there was any holes. They just didn't have the technology back then. But yeah, it obviously could travel through space. Those Star Destroyers go to light speed all the time. Yeah, Death Star can go.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just feels weird. Like, where is it being powered from? There's no
clearly there's massive engines inside the space station.
Where though? It's a circle.
I don't know.
That's what I'm telling you. I want to know, man.
Plans. They're in
like
the
if you're listening and you're a Death Star engineer, send us a message. I want to know how you guys did it.
Yeah. But no, it can travel around, and it's a planet killer. And this whole story takes place during its time being built. Which is why they jump back. And also keep in mind, they're having to fit into the time between episode 3 and episode 4, which is I think 15 total years. So that's enough time, or maybe it's a little bit longer. It's probably 17 or 18 years, because it's obviously enough time for the twins to grow up and become late teens, which is what they are when A New Hope starts.
So let me ask you a little question.
It's like the last 10 years of that. Yeah.
I recognize something right away in the season that got me a little excited.
Yeah.
Do you know where they filmed Coruscant?
It's definitely something over in either London or somewhere in Europe for sure.
So it's in one of my favorite cities in the world. I've been to 3 times.
Nice.
In Valencia, Spain, and it looks exactly like it too. The water's out there. They got all the big arches over there. It's the Arts and Science Center in Valencia.
Yeah, because they filmed a lot of the prequels there, didn't they?
Yeah, Spain's been a lot like Seville, Barcelona. The beach, one of the beach scenes was in Barcelona.
Yeah, that sounds great.
One of the castles was also near Valencia.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just a great place to do everything because
it looks it has architecture that's unlike American architecture, which is really all they're going for, to show that it's on another planet.
Yeah,
because Europe isn't another planet compared to America.
They absolutely are much better planet.
So it's definitely I think that's illustrated that way on screen.
Do you think that like MAGA people, like people who are very heavily into that, not even just casually voting for like Donald Trump or conservative or whatever, but like heavy MAGA D people watch this and go, and not realize that it's like targeting like that style of
I don't think it's targeting MAGA people. I think it's
like fascism
literally
it's
just the rise. I mean, we've had so many examples of that in American and world history that you can just pick any one of those and then put that, I guess, veil of Star Wars over it, which is exactly what Tony Gilroy did. It has nothing to do with America. It can be any of those stories. Honestly,
about that, but
I'm saying you can apply it to today's world.
I'm not saying MAGA's out there like building a Death Star to blow up something. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's some of the mindsets and the idealism.
I think if you look at Hitler's Third Reich, he would have loved to have built something like that.
Oh, he was trying to.
Yeah, he was trying to. So I think if you even put it into that context, it's completely relatable to human history for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's by the playbook.
It really is.
So
it's not like they invented anything new. They're just going by how humans.
So basically, Adolf Hitler copied Star Wars.
I think that's what I think we're saying. Star Wars copied Adolf Hitler. I think is what we're.
I'm not going to give Hitler that credit. So.
He's not around to care about that. So,
you know that he's in Argentina.
Him and Palpatine didn't quite make it. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, but
Palpatine in Argentina right now, hanging out with Hitler.
Yeah, they would be in their 150s. No big deal.
No big deal.
Yeah. So I mean, what else to say about it? Like the reason I think it's so good is, especially dialogue wise, Star Wars has always suffered from corny dialogue. Yes, it got better after Lucas. Filoni's a phenomenal writer. I'm not knocking anything Filoni's done. He gets tight plots. He's got good dialogue. Clone Wars is excellent. I just think finally watch. I've seen enough of the Clone Wars to get a feel for it.
I don't need to watch
all 5 seasons.
This guy says it's 10 seasons. Thank you fucking very much. I think actually 11.
That's way too many.
It's 160 something episodes.
Good God.
And it's so much better than
animated. So
no.
that's kind of why.
No. Let's stop this. Chris is anti-animation.
I'm not anti.
Period.
It's
You
just
don't.
not
Yes,
my
you
thing,
are.
or it doesn't
Dude,
hold
you
my
don't
interest
watch
like
it
live
at
action.
all. Zero.
No, but it doesn't mean that I don't know the plot because I go over the plot on highlight reels. I don't need to watch full animated shows because I know I'm not going to. So it's better for me to just look up what
Do you
happens in
like
them.
Mandalorian?
I liked most of Mandalorian. Yes.
Okay. So
Well, I would say actually I like all of Mandalorian. The Book of Boba Fett was just one of my
that one,
least favorites.
I'm not talking about that, but
I know, but it's sort of still he's in it. You know, it's sort of that same universe.
Because literally,
Mandalorian is very much
it's
like
the Clone Wars. It's literally live action Clone Wars.
Clone Wars or live action just holds my attention more. I don't know why. It's
weird.
something in my brain. But
persecute against poor animation characters.
I'm not. I leave
animation
alone.
Discriminate.
And they can leave me alone. We're not bothering each other.
Anti-animation semi
an anti-animation Semite.
Yeah,
there's probably a easier.
There has to be a term for that because there's a lot of people that don't like animation, and it's ridiculous. But
no, I just think Tony Gilroy's dialogue is a breath of fresh air to be able to. It's just so good, and also the actors are incredible.
Well, who's your favorite?
It's really good
in season 2 so far.
Honestly,
what was your person?
Luthen was my guy. I really love the way Skarsgård plays him. He's constantly torn and trying to balance all these things, and it finally comes to a head for him. But I'll tell you what, man, Serial.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's a fantastic actor. They should better launch his career, man.
You talk about a character arc. This guy goes from the beginning of season 1 where he's disgraced and Cassian, ends up killing the guy. He can't solve the case and everybody just discounts him. And it comes to a head when even his own female partner didn't take him seriously. Like he just can't handle it finally. Like he has a breaking point. And it's brilliantly played by that actor. I'm not exactly sure his name.
It's like weird though, because he almost has his own self-redemption at the end when he dies.
Yeah.
It's like 100%. This thing where like I'm going out on top.
Cassian says, "Oh, by the way, there's spoilers in this, just in case you didn't realize that already." But Cassian, him asking, it's so perfect. Who are you?
Yeah.
Like, why are you trying to kill me? And Serial has to process that question like, my entire life's been about getting you and you don't even know who I am. Like, it's so futile. I put so much effort into this and it was all for nothing. And then that's the moment he dies. I just think that's brilliant.
I mean, the Deidre chick, his girl.
Yeah.
Dude, she is a fantastic actor because she played a fucking bitch and she did it so well. Features. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
it's crazy how stark her features are.
Some of the stuff I'm still waiting for her to do something that, like, there might be something more with her somewhere down the line in some way, shape, or form. I don't know, but
she ends up in jail. So
that's what I'm saying. So she's not dead. She's not,
Yeah.
There could be something in the future with her. Because
I can't imagine. Because unless they announce a story, right now the only announcement I've heard is that they're giving Gilroy a chance to do an actual Star Wars movie, but it would be later after Jedi. So I don't know. I don't know. I hope that's true because I just think he's really, really good at this, and he has such a fresh look on the Star Wars universe. Like he's telling a story that we all sort of knew would have happened, but he's kind of filling in all the details. But he's doing it in his own style, his own way. It's not like any other Star Wars entity. There's nothing else like Andor or Rogue One. And that, I think, just speaks to his talent, in my opinion.
No, I mean, I think, like I said, the writing's good. I just think the pacing was rough, man. Like,
but I don't think that's because it's not talent.
There's times it was just so boring. Oh my God, bro. I'm trying to get through some of this shit, dude.
Yeah, like, we're used to it being more high action and more battles and more that. I think it was refreshing for him to be like, no, we're gonna let this simmer. We're gonna smoke this meat instead of fry this meat. I don't know. I really enjoyed Andor, and again, I think there's a lot of people that are on your side of it. I've definitely heard that complaint online.
So what was better, Acolyte or Andor?
Oh, Andor. It's not even close. I'm going to say this statement, and this is an old school Star Wars fan talking.
Okay.
Andor and Rogue One are now number one over Empire for me. And that's saying something, because Empire's always been the mecca for Star Wars fans, at least the older Star Wars fans. Empire is it, and Empire's number two for those other things. For me now, I just think Empire doesn't even capture the nuance of the start of the rebellion. The way I just loved what he did. I think it's a really cool way to tell a story. So that's my statement. I'm sticking by it.
All right, then I will upstatement that.
Upstatement. You don't have to upstatement.
I'm going to upstate you. I'm going to upstage, upstate, whatever.
I'm going to be so dramatic, and I'm going to upstatement it.
I'm going to say that the combination of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and Bad Batch is by far better than Andor and Empire combined.
What? I mean,
I'm not writing's better.
Those entities. They're really good.
The writing's better. They tell story. The introduction of the characters. Half the characters you like come from the Clone Wars. Like,
well, yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with it being better writing. I think it's two different animals. Like, the Andor writing is slower because it's more of adult situations.
Yeah, but
you have more of an action.
You're trying to compare apples and oranges when you haven't even seen the oranges. That's the problem. I haven't seen it.
I know what happens in the Clone Wars. I've seen a lot of episodes, and I've watched a lot of highlight reels. I have not seen the whole series, and I don't need to. It doesn't hold my interest.
So you're saying I could watch the Disney version of the Andor season 1 clip for 15 minutes and know everything about Andor for season 1? That's what you're telling me right now.
No, it's all the high points. I mean, yeah. Actually, yes. And I'm not saying that has nothing to do with how good the writing is or take away from the performances. There's a lot of other stuff in there. But as far as moving the overall general story around, yeah, highlight reels, especially the professionally done ones, they really do get you up to speed on anything that you're watching.
So you're saying you're not going to miss anything major with that?
I think you're gonna miss performances and nuance and the slowness of it. But if the slowness of it for Andor you don't like that, then you should do the highlight reels just to know the story before getting to Rogue One. I think everybody will enjoy Rogue One more having watched Andor.
Oh, 1,000%.
But
I didn't say Andor was bad. I didn't say it was bad. Yeah. Look, I'll take mediocre Star Wars over good almost anything else. So this is not
this is operating at the top of its potential. I think this is what Star Wars is to me, I guess, and I just didn't know it. Like, Star Wars has been so important part of my life that I didn't realize it could be acted this well and written this well and all that. Not because it hasn't been before. It's just, it's different. It's more about action. It's more about entertainment. Andor doesn't care about making you smile. It doesn't look for a laugh like the regular Star Wars.
I don't think I laughed a single time in season 2.
Exactly. But it also plays to a vibe and a mood that you're like, these people are being wronged and you want them to see for them to win. It makes everything about Rogue One and episode 4 better to me. Like, you get what they're fighting for because of the Andor 2 seasons. That's what I'm saying. And I think that's a insanely hard thing to do, since one of those movies was written over 50 years ago. And somehow you can match it that well and give these rebels something that you're like, yes, like you get behind their fight way more than you used to just watching the movies.
Yep.
End of rant.
Especially if you watch the Clone Wars and talk about
it. Yes, watch the Clone Wars. I definitely recommend Clone Wars is great. Well, I just don't. It's a whole.
All I'm saying is that there's so many things that you're talking about, like storyline wise and dialogue, and they're so into it in the Clone Wars.
But if it was from the Jedi's point of view, which is more action.
No,
there's
not necessarily.
Action in Clone Wars.
Yeah, there is in certain episodes, but there's certain episodes where they don't fight at all for 4 or 5 episodes.
Sure.
I mean, the stuff where they did with
set some story up somewhere.
The clones when they figured out when Rex and they started figuring out the, I mean, They had to figure out
I'm
how to
glad
put
they
the
threw
chips
that
and
kind
all
of
the
stuff
DNA.
in there because you needed that. You can't just go from action.
No.
You got to throw that story arcs in there and get to know the characters more. That is good writing.
And you
Filoni's an
literally see
unbelievable writer.
Anakin's turn to the dark side for the first time in
Yes.
any type of
It's not
cinematic
so
anything.
abrupt. I completely
No.
agree on that. The Anakin Clone Wars really does address the Anakin's long drawn out turn, because we didn't see that in the movies.
No.
We got kid that has lots of force powers. Suddenly we have angry teen for one movie, and then all of a sudden this dude's chopping down younglings, and you're like, good God, dude, like what happened? Show me on the doll where you were hurt. Like, good Lord. And Clone Wars does fill that in nicely. There is a lot of that stuff in there, which is very cool. And it was probably my favorite part of the Obi-Wan series, was getting to see full Vader.
You like how they did in the Clone Wars first? Nice.
Oh my God.
Nice.
You understand there's more to Star Wars than Clone Wars, right?
Not when you're talking about rankings.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I would be interested to see what you guys think. If you guys think Clone Wars does outrank Andor,
and let me know what you think. If Clone Wars was live action, Chris would be bragging how much better it is than Andor.
I don't think so.
1,000%. Not even
because Andor's so different.
So is the Clone Wars.
No, it wasn't. It's good writing, but it was still a lot of the action, a lot of the Jedi battles, a lot of the stuff that we had already seen glimpses of or seen different versions of. It did all that in there. Andor did something completely unique, and it said, "Screw all the action."
They had action,
or we're going to have certain ones of action, and you just build up to it. They had a shit ton of
action in Andor too. It wasn't like it was nothing at all.
No, but it was very slow.
They had a whole episode where they fought, did nothing but fight.
Yeah, episode 8. Like, they spent 8 episodes building to that, and it was a brilliant way to do it because you were like invested in the fight. Yeah. But I mean, I just think it's completely different from anything Star Wars related up to this point. Andor is its own unique thing. I personally think it's better, but I would be interested to hear what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, interested to hear about the people who are smart and pick the Clone Wars.
It has nothing to do with smarts.
No. Well, I mean, I will say this. Doesn't. No. Hear me out. It does take a certain intelligent set to like Andor than it would be to just like an action-packed, like, fighting scenes. Like, you have to get the stuff. You have to kind of look.
They're not mutually exclusive. I enjoy anything Star Wars, but I enjoyed a fresh take on it. And
yeah, but you have to get the take, right?
What do you mean?
Not the dialogue.
You didn't get the take?
I mean, it's one of those things where if you don't get the dialogue, the build up, and everything about it, because you get bored and you leave, typically that has something to do with being able to concentrate and what you're watching. Right.
I don't know how you couldn't get anything that was going on. It was slow, but that was how it was designed.
Yeah.
I don't think they did anything in it that was like, I don't understand.
No. Well, yeah, but you have to pay attention the entire time or else you will miss something.
Heaven forbid.
Dude, you'd be surprised, man, with today's day and age.
No,
with this thing distracting everybody left and right here.
With kids, trust me, I hear that all the time. People are just like, "Oh, I don't watch shows; they're too long." Yeah. I mean, it's a YouTube culture. It's a TikTok culture. Like,
what do you know about YouTube? Get out of here.
I don't know anything. I know nothing of it.
Join us on the next episode. Which is why I don't have anything
short.
Of Set Street.
I don't have any short episodes. I'm the same way. No, but I get that they're going up against TikTok culture and all that. However, that's another reason I like this. It felt like this was not written for them. You know how Star Wars, and Lucas says it all the time, Star Wars is made for this 12 to 14-year-old mindset or kid or whatever. He has said that literally since the beginning. And that's how all Star Wars is designed, for that age group. But even if they do adult it a little bit more, it's still designed for that age group. There is nothing about Andor or Rogue One that's designed for that age group. And I think I appreciated it finally. It felt like Star Wars fans that have been on for the long haul got a little bit of respect with, you don't have to worry about kids wanting to watch this. They're not going to want it. They don't want to watch it.
I think the same with Acolyte too. I think Acolyte was not for
it was
kids
in that same
either.
vein. We didn't get to see where it was going.
I mean,
but
do you think that's why so many people hated both Andor and Acolyte as like quote unquote Star Wars fanatics, because it didn't have that like
100%.
childish
It didn't
kind of
fall in
fight
to the
scenes
same
and
thing they've always watched with
the
Star Wars.
repetition.
But that is what I love about it the most. So that's what the thing I feel like Star Wars fans need to understand. Star Wars is such a vast subject and a vast universe. It can be other things than what you've always seen before.
Yeah.
And
like the Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars has way more elements of old Star Wars than it does like Andor has. So
but
that's my
point.
The
old meets Andor.
And it's good. It's way more well written than old Star Wars.
Without the Clone Wars, there's no Andor.
Well, that's probably true. Yeah,
you know 100%, what I mean.
100%.
Because that put Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni on the mark, like on the fucking map.
Well, sure, it did.
Period.
Yeah,
and without that, there's no Mandalorian. Without that, there's no Ahsoka Tano. Like everybody loves Ahsoka. Where'd she come from?
100%. But it is still not. It's a well written piece, whatever you want to pick of Clone Wars. However, it's still formulaic in the Star Wars, the best sense of Star Wars, where you have Jedi battles, lightsaber battles. You're going to have these clone attacks and wars and blaster battles. These are certain formula things that hit, all wrapped in very, very good storytelling. However, Andor threw all that out the window, and they were like, "We're going to make the West Wing."
Yeah, it was.
But with Star Wars characters.
West Wing's a very good comparison, yeah.
And I just think that's a bold choice for one thing, because clearly not all the fans followed it. However, the ones that did that understand what they were doing, I just think they knocked it out of the park. I really do. It felt like more of an Aaron Sorkin written thing than a George Lucas or a Filoni piece.
This is very funny that we're having this discussion and debate, because I'm way more, and I mean 10 times more, into the slower dialogue type things than you are. And I don't know why I'm not liking it. I mean,
Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey.
Kill me now.
Oh
Kill
my God.
Yeah.
And it's so good. Oh my God. But like that's such a slow dialogue type story.
I'll bet, dude.
And and I love it, which I don't get. Like, maybe it's because there's no expectations of anything, whereas like Star Wars, you have this expectation of certain things. And
especially
Andor did not meet it for a lot of
very specific ending. Like, the ending of it. It's like watching Titanic.
Yeah.
You already know they're going to hit an iceberg and go down.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
How do we get to that point? That's what the entire 2 seasons of Andor is. So to hit that vibe and do what they did with it, I just think it's an impressive piece of writing and directing. I really do.
What did you think about the very last scene with Bix?
I loved it. I did the slow walk to the ship.
Look, I was thinking about this shit.
I know, where you're tying in everything about what's about to happen in Rogue One. And of course, I recommend this to anyone. As soon as you're done, start Rogue One. This is exactly what I did.
Yeah.
It's seamless. And he's going. In other words, in Rogue One, he just kind of ran into Jenna or so. It just the adventure started. He knows exactly where he's going to find her.
Yeah.
And she is the mission. And I don't know, it really, really ties everything in together, which of course the end of Rogue One is one of the most iconic Star Wars scenes of all time.
Yes.
And it felt like it lived up to that. And you were like, okay, this is one story that we get to see from the beginning to the end. We already knew the ending, but we finally got to see the whole beginning of this story. And I just think that's a tall order to ask any director or writer to do. I mean, that is a big ask.
Yes.
And this guy just sat down and did it and just knocked it out of the park. I just think, I think he's just one of the greats. I really do. I loved it.
Yeah. I was referencing the child that,
Well, I love that they threw that in there. But granted, I don't
what's it going to be?
I mean, I don't think we're going to know. I think it was more of his memory will live on, which I thought was a nice touch. Yeah. I definitely didn't see it coming, but I think I also didn't see it coming because I don't think they're really going to do anything with it. I think it was more like he didn't he's going to die on,
but knowing
whatever that country or planet is, but
knowing
gonna live on.
Jon Favreau and Filoni and the deep dive Star Wars stuff like that. He's
Yeah.
probably a character from one of these movies,
I'm
or
cool with it.
the Clone Wars, or Mandalorian, or something. Where like, hey, remember that one dude that did this and this and that? Yeah. That's who we're talking about.
They're going to tie him into Mandalorian, because the Mandalorian movie that I think they're almost done or already done filming.
Yeah.
Takes place 20 years after the events of Andor?
Yeah, so he would be 21, 22, something like that.
It would be really cool if there's an Andor, last name Andor character in the Mandalorian movie. I would be totally down with that, dude. Yeah, and that would be a great tie-in. I hope they do.
Imagine how sick it'd be if they did like a Mandalorian armor suit in Andor's honor.
That would be cool.
Like a specific one.
How much of his dad would he have known? Like, would
But that's how he lives through his mom, and maybe he has a little bit of the Force in him or something too. I mean, you don't know.
He never really. They never really got into that with Andor, but they did allude to something special, though. That's true.
Because she could be
okay. Actually, let's talk about this. This could tie in that the old lady, the Force sensitive old lady there on and it freaked him out that she could see that stuff. But Bix was not seeing it too, but she felt something clearly.
Yeah, she was calmed by it.
Very much. So I could see that being a later storyline that's Force related to be fleshed out. I like that they didn't do it in this, though.
Princess Leia had zero Force qualities until the very last, basically, and any of them, really.
Yeah.
And so
actually, this brings up another point. I wonder why Jimmy Smits didn't play Bail in this. I wonder why they switched to Benjamin Bratt. I'm assuming a scheduling conflict. I just thought it was a weird switch because no, Jimmy Smits was in Rogue One.
Yeah.
So you're going before Rogue One. He was also in the prequels. So you got him at the
but where was the cool Asian guy in this one?
Well, we met him. But we met him in Rogue One. So we know he's coming to that. But we didn't. They just didn't need the. Was that Donnie Yen? I think it's his character. The actor.
I don't know. He's badass.
Yeah, he was amazing. But we met him in Rogue One. I thought he had a great story arc in Rogue One. I'm glad they didn't mess with it. I didn't think we needed. I mean, I would have liked to have seen more of him, but I don't think it was necessary for it to be an Andor. But I was surprised about the Benjamin Bratt thing.
I mean, the Forrest Whitaker thing was like.
I thought they did a great job of showing
weird though, like
his story arc though.
Yeah, like there's a weird insert though.
He's just a psycho in Rogue One, really. But it kind of built up to this guy wanted to fight, and they, of course, the Rebel Alliance got mired in bureaucracy like most places do. And he was like, no, we're fighting now. And yeah, he was an odd character, but I think that just played into it. I think she's an incredible actor. I thought the performance was amazing.
Phenomenal. 100%.
I do need to look up the Bratt and Smits thing. I can't be money because they are knowing they have them bookended in the movies before Andor and after. And then if he can't, it had to be a scheduling thing.
Wait, what was his name? That one?
Jimmy Smits played Bail Organa in the prequels and in Rogue One. And now in Andor is played, same characters played by Benjamin Bratt.
Yeah. I was making sure he didn't die because I like him as an actor.
No, he dies on Alderaan. When Alderaan blows up, that's when he supposedly dies.
So Jimmy's was replaced as Bail Organa in Andor Season 2 due to a scheduling conflict. He wasn't available to reprise his role with other commitments. The showrunner, Tony Gilroy, stated despite trying to accommodate Smits, it ultimately was not impossible.
Okay. That's the one excuse I was fine with because, I mean, you can't do anything about it and they're not going to hold up the whole production.
I mean, it's not like Benjamin Bratt, some bad actor. So it's like.
No, he's a fantastic actor.
They're very similar.
They are distinctly different body types. But I think they both equally did a fantastic job. But Smits has been in it for over 20 years. So I'm surprised he didn't kind of strong arm whatever other production he was on that he was picking over Star Wars.
And I can't imagine he would have been gone for more than a couple of weeks.
Yeah, because
it's not like he was in it for like 20 episodes.
No. I bet if you filmed all of his scenes together, he would have been there for a week.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't in that much. But, we're not privy to the ins and outs of film scheduling. So
politics and other bullshit, but yeah.
Yeah. But I'm glad to hear it was just scheduling because I can't imagine he would have taken that lightly. I mean, he's been playing that character since the beginning. So
good.
Bummer.
Overall, I give Andor a 8 out of 10.
Really?
8 out of 10.
I'm a 10 out of 10, baby. I think Andor, what I love about Andor is it goes, like, you can't really think of, oh, just Andor season 1 was good, or season 2, or Rogue One. Like, they are one
it's all
story.
3. Yeah.
It's all 3 makes one story.
Don't get me wrong. Rogue One was a perfect 10 out of 10, not even close. It's the best Star Wars movie. Period.
It's the best of the Disney movies. I put Andor and Rogue One over Empire. Empire is number 2. Those 3 things are number 1 for me. But out of the Star Wars movies alone, Andor and Rogue One are just light years ahead of everything else. And I love Mandalorian. I think Mandalorian's an awesome series.
Yeah.
I liked certain aspects of Obi-Wan. I did not really like anything in Book of Boba Fett. I still don't understand that show. I really loved Acolyte, but what other? I'm trying to think of any other Star Wars related shows have we gotten. I think we covered them all.
Oh shit! What's it called? I mean, you had Solo, which I thought was good for what it was.
That was a movie. Well, yeah, and they had the directors get fired in the middle of it, and Ron Howard had to finish it. So some things got changed that shouldn't have, and that vision can feel. But I think they did a good job with it for what had happened during.
You know what I think it's time for?
What?
I think the next kind of TV series, I think it needs to be basically the whole story of Darth Maul.
I know, man. Fans have been calling for years, and we kind of got a tease there at the end of Solo. We thought we were going to get more, but it just didn't happen.
Because that's such a character everybody wants to know more about.
Everybody loves Darth.
And like, is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy? Is he an anti-hero? Is he
hurt people?
Just the worst? People. Yeah, but like, why?
Yeah, I know. What happened to him?
And you could have
that's a good question.
You could have pulled it in with like Acolyte season 2. You could have pulled in that whole side of that, 100%. And then pulled in that, and then went off that with your spinoff of having the Darth Maul series.
I would love that. Honestly, what did I just see the trailer for? That it looked like we were getting a little bit more backstory from Massage of Interest too.
Oh yes, it just came out. I think.
Yeah, that just came out.
It's animated though. Sorry,
I know.
That's why I'll be
watching highlight reels.
Yeah. It's only like 4 episodes, I think. So you should watch.
Oh, is that right?
It's just short. Yeah,
it's like a miniseries.
Yeah,
I'll probably watch it just because I love Massage of Interest. She's one of my favorite Clone Wars era villains. She was such a badass though. I just loved everything about her character. I thought it was really good, but I know nothing about her character, which I don't think a lot of people did. So I think it's cool when they delve into some of these side characters.
Yeah, I think those are the movies that need to happen. Not necessarily released in theaters, but like a Disney Plus movie.
Even about if they're miniseries.
Yeah, like a 4-part series, hour-long episodes kind of thing. And deep dive into this stuff because we want to know this kind of stuff. And it kind of can't miss. Really, I mean, if you do this kind of order like you do at Andor, and it leads up into something too, like that last episode, blah 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 happens, and you see one side of thing, and next thing you know, it's like, oh shit, he's about to die, and like fun fact, Darth Maul does get killed by our lovely friend.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
Well, he's got robot legs though. I would have liked to have seen that whole transition. How did he get out of the hole that Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan cut him in half and sent him down?
They talk about it in the Clone Wars.
They also talk about it in the comics before the Clone Wars came out. I'm just saying, it made for good television.
Yeah.
I know. You're not going to make me watch Clone Wars, unfortunately.
Only
and it's not bad on Clone Wars. Episodes. It's my own hang-up.
It is.
It's like people that are like, you should start One Piece. I'm like, I would rather get dragged through a field of
they have a live action one now, so you can watch that.
Live action one I watched. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I would have taken you for
I
that.
love it.
Let me ask you this. Have you watched a live action series called Shogun yet?
Just the first 2 episodes still.
Oh my God.
I know. And God knows it got so many awards. I know it's great.
They're coming out with 2 more seasons.
They should. I mean, it got so many awards. There's no reason not to keep making those. But again, it's more about sitting down and reading subtitles, which is what I have to make time for.
That is true. There's no
I take a lot of data or a lot of content in while I'm driving with my ears, and obviously anything with subtitles, I'm out. There's nothing I can do about it. So I like hearing things on, and I can follow stories with listening. That's why I like podcasts and books on tape more too.
Books on tape? What are you, fucking 90?
You know,
really
I call them books on tape still, because that's what they used to be when I was a kid. Books on tape, sir. Read it.
Oh, I used to love listening to Lord of the Rings.
Turn it over for side B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. I
Hobbit,
that
Lord
shit.
Rings. I had all
on
of them.
audio. Oh man.
There was they did an audio drama.
Jim did Jim Dale? Who did the way back in the day one?
Are you talking about the Rankin and Bass animated one?
No, I'm talking about the audio books.
Yeah. That's probably the same one I'm talking about. I can't remember the name, but it was like really long.
I thought it was Jim Dale.
It went from Hobbit all the way through Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And then of course the Star Wars radio drama was one of my favorite things ever listening to growing up. Which that history of the Star Wars radio drama definitely got rewritten a bit with Andor, which is expected because when Disney bought them, they basically decanonized pretty much all the expanded universe so they could pick and choose what they wanted to bring back in. So unfortunately, there's a few events in Andor that rewrite it.
Rob Ingalls was the original.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and actually who does it now is Andy Sudeikis.
Yeah. The man, the myth, the legend. Right. Anyway, we should probably wrap this up because this has been ongoing. But let us know what you think of Andor, y'all.
Let us know how much better Clone Wars is. You know what I mean?
Below. And someone make Tim feel better and tell him that Clone Wars is better than Andor.
Please, someone, just one. If you have about 500 comments from all these Star Wars haters, but just one.
Most likely you're going to get way more than I will about Andor. A lot of fans had an issue with the pacing.
Dude, I get shit on all the time for fucking being a Clone Wars fan, so don't. Dude, it's a kid's cartoon. Oh.
That is not what I say, and that's who you're trying to reference. I'm not saying it is a kid's cartoon. I'm just saying it's animated, and it has the pacing of an animated series, which has to be a little bit faster so that kids can also enjoy it. Did you ever watch
all of the Batman animated series?
No. No, I watched more of that than Clone Wars because I was more of the age to watch it, but I don't think I remember finishing it. Or maybe I do, and I just don't remember it.
That's one of those ones you can't even say that's anime because it's the greatest animation style in the history of the fucking world.
I do like that animation style.
God. It's better than live action style. I mean,
I do like that.
It's like perfect. It's crazy how much far ahead of time freaking Bruce Timm and Paul Dini were.
That was mid-90s, early 90s?
92.
Wow.
91 and 92. And that shit was so dark and sexy, but not over-sexualized in any way, shape, or form.
Well, it was very noir, which is exactly what Batman is. And I think it captured his vibe perfectly.
Which we actually are going to do another, maybe a Batman discussion in the future.
Oh, really? Okay. Yep. I'll get prepared for it.
Yep. Because Superman's coming out, so I figured we'll have a discussion about that. I saw the trailer. Great. It actually looked really good.
Dude, it's James Gunn. So it's going to be good. James Gunn is a miracle worker. He's one of the best storytellers that we have out there. And the fact that he gets to guide the whole DC universe now, I think that's the best thing for DC ever.
Yeah, I agree. They need to keep him and just stick with them for 10 years. Let him do it.
Absolutely.
Don't fuck with them. Let him do it.
Movies and show, just roll them all out. Agreed. They'll make billions and billions of dollars.
Oh, agreed.
Hopefully, you guys let us know in the comments what you think of Andor. If you hated it, if you loved it. And thanks for watching our review of Andor, the latest and greatest Star Wars entity.
Join the convo. Clone Wars is better.